Hi guys, it's Kayla and Miller again. We're going to be trimming his nails. It's kind of a touchy subject when you come to the vet's office that we're always asking us to do the nails because you're not comfortable doing it at home. Well, we might teach you that it's not such a horrible thing, at least for the dog's perspective. So what we're going to do is I like to kind of hold them where if they happen to turn their head and nip at you, you can kind of get a little control there. You know, in the clinic, we usually have got a couple people with us, you know, a person holding and a person trimming. A lot of times at home, you don't have that luxury. So what I'm going to do is show you guys how I would do it at home with my own dog. So usually what I do is I have them standing, and I kind of have my body held up against them. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my left hand over across his neck area and have it kind of held right underneath of him. And I have my hand resting up against the bottom of his chest. This other arm, I can help use my elbow, push him up against me to keep him nice and still. And then I've got my nail clippers in the other hand. So what I'm going to do is start with this leg here. So what I'm going to do, with my elbow held into his neck to kind of keep his head back, I'm going to grab the foot and pull it up and kind of back like how you do it with a horse. So usually what I do is isolate a nail that I need to work with. Now this one's one of those dreaded black nails. So what I'm going to do, a good rule of thumb with nails is to trim them even with the paw pad. Now with black nails and sometimes with these older guys that even the white nails you can see, the quicks are a little long on him. So I'm probably going to go a little conservative with him. And that's how I usually recommend you guys doing it at home. Starting with a little bit, and you can always clip more if you need to. So we'll go ahead and trim this little black bomber here. I know, it's all right. So Miller's a little nervous right now. He's done a lot of videos with us. So you can clip, and you can see on some of these nails at the very top here, you can sort of see a little hole, a little dot. When you see that little dot, you know you've gone far enough and you don't have to go further down, even though the nail looks like you can clip more. So we'll try it again on another nail. Try this one here. Again, his clicks are a little long, so I'm being a little more conservative. So all I'm doing is I'm pulling the foot back, holding the nail up with a finger, and then just clipping straight down, letting it go. And that's all you guys have to do. Do on all 4 feet. Now when it comes back to the back legs, sometimes it's a little more difficult by yourself. So if you can get them to sit down, can you sit down, Miller? There you go, buddy. Good boy. Sometimes if you get them to sit down, it's a little easier because you can just slide the foot out to the side and still get a decent cut. It's okay, Miller. I know, Miller says he's done with us today. So, foot out to the side, clip the nail nice and flat. You can do it with these other nails, same way, nice and flat. And I'm just doing the tips of them because, like I said before, his nails are pretty long and his quicks are pretty long. So we've done at least 2 of the feet. I'm going to give him a break a little bit before I go with the other ones, which is a good idea for you guys to do at home. When you're doing it at home, sometimes they're not used to it, or you've got a hard time doing it by yourself, so you can get 1 foot done at a time, let them go play for a little bit, get it off their minds, and then come back maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, and then you can do the other foot. You know, sometimes you can start out small and do 1 nail at a time, give them a cookie, and then move on to the next toe. And then hopefully after a couple of tries of doing that, and your dog's getting pretty used to it, then you can do the all 4 feet in 1 sitting. One thing that you want to try and get when you do your nails is something that we call just the quick stop powder, which is basically a styptic powder. Most pet stores will carry a brand or off-brand name, but all you're going to look for is a styptic powder. That way, if you happen to clip a little close, which nobody wants to, but it's inevitable at some point in time, that way you've got something to help stop the bleeding. There's a lot of at-home remedies, flour, or cornstarch or stuff like that you can find in your kitchen cabinet that If you use a lot of it, it's probably going to work at some point in time, but the styptic powder is going to get it really quickly, and you're not going to have to worry about anything. Now, one thing you guys can do is, say if he doesn't like standing up, you can always try your dog laying down on the floor if they like that, with somebody feeding them cookies. But generally, if you get them, if they're laying down in their bed, pretty happy, you can kind of go up to them with a cookie, and then you can just trim a nail at a time. But I want you guys to be careful when you do that, to sort of have an eye of where their head is, because you know, we don't know how they're going to react if we happen to get too close or they don't like their nails being touched. So try one nail, see how it does. If they're just not having it, it might be a good idea to find somebody to help hold them so you don't put yourself or your pet in danger. For Miller is quite done with us today. If you want to put them on their side to do it, which is sometimes a pretty easy way to go about trimming their nails, what I like to do is, if you're by yourself or whatnot, you can have one hand underneath. You're going to grab the leg that's closest to your body. With your other hand, go across their little tummy fold here and grab the far leg here. What you're going to do is hold tight, slowly pull down, using your body to help guide them to the floor. And that way, you can have somebody else trim the nails for you. You can have your arm resting over their neck, holding with this leg down. That way they can't get it underneath of them and push themselves back up. This back leg, pretty much the same thing. Now, if they're good laying on their side like this, you can attempt to do the nails yourself. I like to keep this hand down, have it held up, and I can clip each little nail with my left hand, or even hold it here. My arm's still helping hold his head down, and clip with my right hand. Moving on to each foot, pulling the foot up here. And this is one foot I didn't do earlier. So I've got one hand down, keeping his head at bay. And then trim, holding the feet, pull the toes out, get it even with the paw pad, and then just trim away.